I want to invite everyone and let everyone know about a space that you might have walked by but not sure what it is. It's at 226 Causeway Street, which is the Strata building, right at the corner of North Washington Street and Causeway, right next to Tidal Boxing and across the street from Ducali and Filippo Restaurant. It is Save the Harbor's space. They're using it as a pop-up museum, and they have honored me with asking me to be their artist in residence this year, and they're allowing me to use it as a studio space. And you may know my work from the plastic bottle fishes that used to be hanging in the Christopher Columbus Park. They are hanging in the windows now, and there's actually about 4,000 of these fish made out of found plastic water bottles in the space. It's pretty impressive when you walk in to feel the, not the weight, but the impact of that much trash that has been found in the North End and transformed into art. I want to invite you all and your family into this space because Save the Harbor, which Chris can talk a little bit about, has made it into an interactive space and an educational space. And it is open every day. You can bring young children in, you can come in and learn about what Save the Harbor has done for this neighborhood and for the city in cleaning up the harbor. And you can look at some great art. And we are having a kind of an opening holiday gallery event on December 6th, which is a Thursday night from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. There will be 4 artists and 7 fishes. Save the Harbor's doing the Feast of the 7 Fishes for that evening. We'll have some music. It'll be an interactive, fun evening to introduce the space to everyone. So we hope you come. And I'd like Chris to talk about Save the Harbor just a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for having me to the council and everyone. And for those of you who don't know, Save the Harbor, Save the Bay is a 32-year-old organization founded and tasked with the preservation and restoration of Boston Harbor through the advocacy for the construction of the Deer Island Sewage Treatment Plant, which thanks to all that effort and thousands of people working, we now have the cleanest urban beaches in the country, and we have a great environmental success story in the harbor. And now, today we kind of did a pivot about 15 years ago, and we say the best way to save the harbor is to share the harbor. And so for about the last 10 and 15 years, we've been doing exclusively free programs and events for initially focusing on youth, but really open to everybody to connect people to our public beaches, to the Boston Harbor Islands, and to Boston Harbor, to the point where now we're reaching about 30,000 people a year. And we were excited to have this opportunity to work through the Chapter 91 license in this space in the Strata building, because we've been bringing people from the city to the harbor and to the beaches, and this gave us an opportunity to bring the beach into the city. And our original idea was to fill the entire space with sand and make it a beach, and the building owners kind of vetoed that and said, what can you do if you take it down a notch? And so we brought a lot of our educational activities, so you can go in there and you can do a sand raking piece in there, which we do out on Carson Beach and down in Nantasket and up in Lynn throughout the summer. These 200-meter, geographic sized pieces, but you can do a small version of that in the pop-up, and you can have your photo taken with the striped bass. So fool your friends, you caught it on the harbor. And it's open, like Robin said, 7 days a week. It's a good place to bring a small child if you're looking for something free to do, and spend a half an hour in there. And we're doing about monthly programming, so I will leave some cards if you have groups, if you're connected with the community groups in the North End. We are longtime partners with North End Against Drugs, and have done some projects and events with them. And again, we're doing about monthly programming there with groups, and they're reaching out to more and more groups in Charlestown and the North End to bring folks into that space. So we'd love to have everyone, and I'll leave a little more information when we're not in the pop-up. We're, like I said, out on the harbor and the beaches. Everything we do is free, including 35 free cruises out to Spectacle George's Islands throughout the summer, and tours to Boston Light. And next up, we start the year off in April with our marine mammal safaris. Although if you guys live in the North End, you probably don't need to come out in a boat because you have the best view of some of the feeding grounds for this harbor seals and porpoises right off the park right here, right at the mouth of the Charles River. So I saw one 2 days ago. So now that the water is getting colder. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.